My name is Peggy Voltolina. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm married with 3 children and 7 grandchildren. I've been doing Montessori education for over 21 years. I got my education at Cabrini High School in New Orleans, went on to Delgado and then Ashford University in early childhood administration. And I am certified in Montessori and have been for almost 20 years. I've been in the Montessori education world for over 21 years. My business is Montessori Christian Academy, and I am the director and owner of that school. We start at 6 weeks, and we have grown to 3rd grade now. And they learn many things that they wouldn't learn at a traditional school because they are not having to learn to take a test. They're learning important values, morals, and also academics above and beyond what they would get in a traditional school. We had planned our Easter celebration. We were planning St. Patrick's Day. Our Easter celebration, the train comes and the children and the families all come. The children ride the train around the neighborhood and they hunt for Easter eggs, and it's quite family gathering. It's one of our traditions that we do here, and all of that was canceled. Along with the Earth Day celebration, everything was canceled. The school was locked up.
My name is Celeste Flynn. I'm 35 years old. I'm born and raised in Louisiana. Been here my whole life. I graduated from Covington High School in 2004. I work at Montessori Christian Academy, and I'm currently working on getting my bachelor's degree in early childhood development. I'm a mother of 3. My 2 younger children, they're 8 and 5. They are in Montessori Christian Academy where I work, and their classes are the primary, which is the 5-year-old, and she has Miss Courtney and Miss Yvonne as her teachers. And my son, he's 8 years old. He's in the elementary class, which is in 2nd grade. They go from 1st through 3rd grade. They were doing pretty well before COVID. They seemed like they were on task. They were learning a lot, very much hands-on, and like a lot of the work here is very hands-on with the children. They were excelling, especially my son in the elementary class. I felt like he was getting a lot more out of reading and doing different themes during the course of the year. He was enjoying just a few kids in his classroom, being able to have that one-on-one and learn all the subjects, but in a way that he could understand. And my daughter, she's a personality, but I felt like she was learning and she was growing. She was able to comprehend more of the language, mathematics as well. And they both were doing really well before the pandemic because they had a routine and a schedule. We'd get up, we'd eat breakfast in the morning. They'd be excited to come to school to see their friends and see their teachers. They were excited just to be at school and being able to play outside with their friends, and they would get really upset if we didn't have school that day, especially my son, when he knew there was something fun and interesting they were going to learn about. Miss Pat always kept it very fun and interactive, and I felt like he was really enjoying school and like going to be at school, and he felt like he belonged there and he fit in.
Before the shutdown, we cleaned, we did everyday normal things. If the children were sick, we had a sick policy, no green noses, no bad coughs, a fever, they went home. We didn't have to have a doctor's note as long as they were fever-free. If they were throwing up, they couldn't throw up or have fever for 24 hours in order to come back.
And well, in the mornings we'd get up and get ready and then come to school, and they'd see all their friends and they'd be greeted by their teachers. They would have a great day. And then in the afternoons, after they said goodbye to everyone, we'd go home and they would talk about their day and what they learned and what friends they played with, or what friends said what, or what birthday party's coming up, and how they can spend time with their friends. I had a routine. I knew I had to get up at a certain time. I knew I had to be at work at a certain time. I knew what children were going to be there. I knew the routine of the day and what things we were going to learn that day. So it was nice to have that routine and that schedule, especially for the two younger children.
We were in business for almost 10 years, and then COVID struck. We stayed open until April 3rd, when my enrollment went from 52 children to 4 children, and I have 11 teachers. There was fear for their safety, and the parents were afraid to bring their children to school.
The last day, that was a little difficult because, the children are like, like our own kids away from home. So to know that we wouldn't be able to see them for a period of time, it was difficult. I think it was more difficult than what we realized at the time. It was very sad because we didn't know if some of the kids would be able to come back after we opened, or would be able to with, us being closed for an amount of time and not knowing how long we'd be closed. It was a lot of uncertainty and unsettledness.
I thought for sure we'd be back in a couple of weeks. We just had 4 children. The parents were more than understanding. Most parents were working from their home. And I said, we'll be back. In a little while, we'll be back. And I closed the doors thinking, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. And as the time went by, when I come out of school, just no children, no laughter. It was a hard time.
At first, we were I think, just unsure. Because at first we started putting things in place that, the health department told us we need to put in place, and we did everything they asked us to do, and eventually it came down to where we had to shut down, which it wasn't easy. Because I had my set of kids that, which were toddlers, and I had them on a routine and they had a schedule, and they were doing really well. And when we shut down, it wasn't something where we had a specific date where we knew we were coming back. Or we knew, hey, we could tell the parents, okay, we're going to be back on this date. We look forward to seeing you. We shut down and we didn't know if we would have a job to come back to or a school to come back to. So it was hard.
I didn't know how I was going to be able to survive. And when the PPP came out, I applied, but didn't get it the first round. When we closed the doors for COVID, I didn't know that we would have to be closed for so long. I thought, this will all be over. We'll be back at work in a month. And so the teachers stayed on payroll, and we had gotten tuition for the month of April. So I paid them and paid all our bills. We're a small school, and tuition is what carries us. And then it kept going on, and we remained closed, and it kept going on. And I didn't know how we were going to make bills. I thought that by June we'd be able to open for summer camp. So I promised all the parents that when they returned their April tuition, because we closed April 3rd, when we returned, they'd get the first month free. But we couldn't return. And I told all the teachers to collect unemployment because I didn't know when we would return.
Well, at first, it didn't seem that bad. The younger one, there really wasn't a whole lot to do, but we did work on, reading, and she'd draw pictures and saying it was her homework so she can feel included when her brother was doing his homework. My son, he had a little bit of a harder time with that. He did not want to do the work. He said he wanted to be at school and not at home doing his work because he wasn't with his friends and he wasn't with his teacher. At first, he would do a few things in his book and he was okay with it, but overall, it was very challenging.
Really, the first through third grade teacher, she sent home work with the children. She tried doing Zoom with them. It didn't work very well, but she got workbooks and she assigned them lessons to do. The younger ones, in this environment, everything's hands-on. So the teachers just sent home ideas for work that the parents were doing at home, and they were sending us pictures. And we all missed the children so much. We Zoomed them.
During the time that he was remote learning, his teacher did have a packet for each one of the children because each of them might have been a different grade level. So she made sure it was for each individual child. And she would drop off the packets at the house. And there were a few times where they were able to see their friends and see their teacher in a Zoom call, which the kids thought that was great. Even though we couldn't hear anyone, he thought it was great. But he knew it wasn't the same, so he'd act like.
We went all the way through June and July, and parents were ready for their children to return. So I made the decision to open back up on August 3rd. My parents didn't have to pay to come back. So I literally opened the doors with hardly any money And we struggled, and we're still struggling, but the children are back. And there's laughter again, and there's joy. And they were so happy to come back. And the teachers were so happy to come back. And our world is different. It's very different. We have to wear masks. The parents are not allowed in the building. We have a car line now where we go to the car with our mask on. We take the children's temperature and we take the children and bring them in. It used to be where the parents got to come in and see the child's environment. I remember the first day we opened, everything for a new child, an infant that was starting, was done online. And the dad pulled up, had never met me, and just handed me his 4-month-old baby with the stuff and said, "Hi, here's my son." I cannot imagine the fear that a parent handing over their baby to people they don't even know had. So my job has been to reassure the parents and the teachers to make sure everything's clean. We clean all day long and disinfect and wear masks. And the children don't like the mask. And the babies pull them off of our faces. It's quite a different world.
I mean, I think it was hard as a parent. I mean, a teacher as well, not being able to be in your own classroom and not have a schedule and routine, but as a parent as well, because during COVID, I mean, we were stuck at home and, not being able to get out like we were used to, or just making simple things like bringing the kids to the grocery store with us. It was very challenging, and remote learning is not easy, and it was very difficult at times. A lot of times as a parent, I just felt at a loss.
Maria Montessori believed that children from birth to 6 did not learn like you and I, but absorbed things in their environment. For example, when you have a newborn baby, they're constantly watching your mouth so that they can learn to speak. They watch you walk, they watch everything. That's how they learn. So in this environment, everything in the environment is tactile, sensory. When they're learning math, it's not just numbers on a page, it's sandpaper numbers and it's golden beads, and it makes a child love to learn because it's fun, but they're learning. Maria Montessori died in the 1950s, but she was so ahead of her time. And she said, "Show me the child at 6 and I'll show you the man or the woman the child's going to be." The basic core of a child is formed before they're 6. So we just embrace that and lift that up.